Hello. So we're back in March and I'm just checking out the sink, see how that's sitting. I've got some silicone as well, so we might be able to get that in properly. But the main focus this weekend is going to be the plumbing in the cabin. That's looking pretty good. So we just want to run something along this lip. So we'll be starting here. I've got a couple of sheets of OSB. It's only thin, it's only 6mm, but I'll lay out all the components of the pumps and filters and that, just make sure it all does fit, and then I'll get it stuck on the cabin. Right, so something like that, I think. Keep the pump low in case there are any leaks or anything. It's not going to take out a huge amount of the backboard. Bit of a mess up here, to be honest, but it's kind of what needed to be done. No neat way of doing it. So I've got the hot water going straight through, and then the cold water's coming out this way. Bit of an odd thing, but where it comes into the cabin, it'll be behind the that tin sheeting we've got around the bath, so you won't see any of that. So by the time the pipes are visible, I'm going to try and get them nice and parallel, nice and neat. Also, finally pulled the trigger on a battery-powered circular saw. It's going to change my life. I need to come up with some kind of wall for it. Doesn't have to be too far, just to kind of come out here, I guess. I don't know whether I'll even bother with a door. It's just to keep the rain off it, really. I've just broken the bloody inlet side on that. Sheared off. So I thought I had enough timber to kind of make a bit of a frame and put some walls in, but all the stuff we got is just way too big. It's all the stuff that we had left over from the cabin and framing out the bus, and it's just massive. It's overkill for this. It's like 3 p.m, so by the time I do that and come back, the day's pretty much over. So I'm gonna go and silicone the sink around in the bus and pack down, come back tomorrow with the timber I need, and hopefully get this boxed in. I'll also have a look out for that broken fitting as well. Glad we went with the black. Would have been awful in white. Another job done. We're back again. I've got timber. I also picked up a couple of solar panels. Anyway, power's another thing, but I saw them, I grabbed them, and that's just another thing checked off the list. I was fortunate enough to find the fitting that I broke, so I'll just get that out and then replace that. Go a bit easier on it this time around. Then we'll start on the walls. Another big consideration, of course, is where the pipes are going to go into the cabin. Now we've got, stud wall here, and I need to make sure that we're going to clear all that. And then there's going to be nogs as well. It's all roughly here. So I've got an upright there and nogs about here. So I'm probably going to have to fettle stuff and just make sure it does go through. Well, that's that for the day. I need to get some hardware and whatever to make the door, but in terms of the exterior, that's as far as I can take it. Well, I'll get inside and take off that corrugated tin and see if we can get the holes in the right place. Well, and good news, didn't hit any of the studs. And bad news, probably not the best place to come in. But this is the way it's landed, so I'm just going to work with it. What I'm going to do is just drill an oversized hole, go straight in with an elbow, 90, take them down into that space, and then split them out into their respective destinations. Alright, I think it's all connected up. I think. It's not quite as neat as I wanted it to be, but the bit you'll see is fine. That's good enough. I'm happy with that. So before I put that tin back on, I'll just check that it does all work and there aren't any major leaks, because then I'll have to take the tin off again. So let's give it a run. I was going to say a dry run, but that's probably not going to happen. That's all connected, taps are off. Gas bottle hooked up, gas on, off, off. So the first thing, the filters will be filled up, the gas has just kicked in. And we've got a leak. Alright, take two. Pump's just turned off, which means you should have pressure on everything. And we've got water again. Alright, cold tap. That's more like it. Hot tap. Yep, getting warm. Of course, shower. Nice and warm as well. Beautiful. Alright, so the other one's leaking as well now, so we've got both sink inlets leaking, and we've got leak here as well. So it's these fittings, they're the same ones on the tap. I know they say not to just kind of bunch it up with tape if it's leaking, but I don't really see any other option. Right, it's 5 o'clock. I've still got a little bit left in me, I reckon. So let's try and get these leaks fixed. And then I'll be very happy. It's all been retaped. Let's see if it's any better. Well, that's way worse. It's kind of that was just me. That seems good. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Tomorrow there is one more hole I need to drill, and that's to run the power for the pump. So I'll have that inside, conjure it up, and then I'll run some power along here and have solar charge controller, fuse box, battery all in this corner, solar panel on the roof, and then just shortest route down into all of that lot. And then from there I can have lights, we can run power down to the pump, and then up there we'll have the extractor fan as well. I'll probably need to continue the conduit round light switch maybe, as well as other lights on this side. But the wet side of it seems to be done. Back on a lovely sunny Monday, I did get hinges and things to make a door for the for this. So I'll get that sorted out, boxed in. I'll also get the kind of rubber gaskets made where all the pipes enter through the cabin, and then that should be nice and tidy then. That's a little bit neater. Really not the best job in the world, but it's not like we're in and out of that door all the time, so it's absolutely fine. All right, well, that'll be me done for the day. Packed down and back next weekend.
Clean up before we make a mess.
We're going to start putting the vents in the cabin, and then that should be all the cutting and hole making that we need to do. I've bought a load of stuff for wiring up, so we've got conduit and I've got connectors and I've got wire and all that kind of stuff, so hopefully don't need to buy a whole lot more. You never know, probably going to be missing some things as usual. Got to film that, but that is under there. You get the picture. All right, we'll nip up those nuts and then figure out something to dress it up. And then that's another job ticked off the list. That'll have to do. No time to dwell. Okay, we're packing down. A bit of a late start, to be honest, but we've got ventilation, even if it's just passive for the moment. Managed to clean up all the cladding and stuff. I'm actually quite happy with it, really, so no need to sweat about that anymore. So tomorrow we'll start on the conduit and start running some cable, and yeah, who knows, we'll see how far we get with that. Okay, back on the Sunday. It's a lovely day, apparently going to be a bit of a scorcher. So while I'm waiting for Luce, I've just been looking at the old solar panel mount, and I think I can do it. The supplied screws are way too long. They just come straight through. So I reckon I can kind of modify the screws that we've been using for the metal roofing. Just need to kind of take these little fangs off it, and I think that should go in. Well, I didn't expect to get that up today. Still a few things that need to be done. So we need to ground it, so I'll need to run a cable for that, and of course we need to run the cables into the cabin somehow as well. But I think the hard part's done, really. So yeah, cabin's now high tech. Threading begins. So this was an absolute pig to get through the conduit. Could have really done with slightly thicker conduit, but it is what it is. We got it there in the end. So we've got 2 of the thick cable running through here until this T, and then 1 pair runs off down there for the pump. The other pair carries on to the fan. Just enough length there to do that. Lucy's just headed off, but I'm going to stick around and just have a look at trying to get that solar cable in. So if we can get it from the panel into the cabin, again, that'll be another massive step. The only thing it needs then is grounding. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. I'll just put it in a bit of conduit and run it through that gap. I'll need to do it properly. Now I know how much length I'm working with inside, but something like that, a little bit neater. Hello, we're back for the 3rd weekend, I think. And yeah, slight change of plan. So in the week, I was going to get all the stuff I need to tie up all the 12 volt in the cabin, have that completely locked off. But you start reading, you start changing your mind on a few things, and I'm going to introduce a inverter. So we're actually going to have 240 volt power in the cabin as well, and that means that I need bigger bus bars, bigger fuses, bigger switches, bigger everything, just to look after that side of things. So I haven't been able to get everything I need. It's going to have to come from online. But then hopefully next week I'll have everything and I'll be able to get that sorted. The main driver of that was being able to run things like hairdryer, hair straighteners, electric toothbrush chargers in the cabin where it lives, all that stuff. The other reason is that then we'll have a second 240 volt system. So if it fails on the bus, we'll have a backup where we can still cook food or, whatever, run a computer, charge stuff if we need to in an emergency. So having that redundancy, having that backup, well worth doing. It's going to cost a bit more, but I think money well spent. Oh, this is awkward. Right, solar panel, down the cable, excellent. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely get something to kind of tie it in against here. I'll find some little clips. Yeah, at least we're stormproof now. Let's go for the pump. It's a bit of an awkward spot. Let's get it out of the way. Ain't got a whole lot to work with here. Don't know why they give you such small amount of cable off of these pumps. Anyway, I've got this little junction box. I'm going to drill a hole through the back of it. Cables will come through the front, and then I'll use a terminal block to join the two. Just about fits. There's a sweat box in here. The sooner we get that fan running permanently, the better. I think I'm gonna pack down and have a well-deserved beer. And we're back down again. So I thought I would carry on with this conduit, running it up from the light switch round and then to that corner. Where is it there? And then that is kind of all the cables run. I think that's a worthwhile task for the day. Right, so I'll run the cable down and had a spare T-piece so I can actually run the solar power down through another piece of conduit as well and keep that all nice and tidy. So I'm actually going to call it there today. I'm going to pack down, head home. I just had a notification that the batteries I've ordered are ready to pick up, so I want to get that done this afternoon while they're still open. Not a whole lot more I could have done here today anyway, just cutting that backboard to size, and that can wait until next week. So anyway, I'm going to pack down, head off, and back next Saturday. And we're back for the last weekend of the month. So in the week, I spent most of my time kind of working on the mains power system, which we've had knocking about for over a year. I did manage to get it all up and running. I got the batteries charged, I got it running from the mains in the house, and it's all tip top and humming along nicely, all in a good state of health. But because I was so caught up with that in the week, didn't really think too much about the 12 volt system down here for the cabin. And I think I've got most of the stuff I need to kind of get this installed, but haven't really put much time into kind of planning it. Lots of bits and pieces. Got the cheapest battery I could get. All expense spared. Right, look at this. Rat nest. Alright, so I've just kind of mocked everything up and got this absolute fire hazard on the go. But it all works, it's good. I mean, the 12 volt side anyway. So we've got running water, and we've got So at least I know it all works. That's kind of in place. Right, well, it's getting late, so I'm going to scoot off today, come back tomorrow and see where we get to. Have made a decision I think is going to make our lives much easier. I'm just going to take this out. Take that nog out. That'll just give us a nice clear blank canvas to work on, and then place it up there where it's behind conduit or whatever. It's just not in the way. Much better than kind of drilling holes through it to run cable anyway. A little bit uneven, but I think we can live with it. And we're back for the last day. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and take out that noggin and buy myself some space in there. And then once I've done that, I'll start assembling it all and see if I can get this battery on charge from the solar. That's kind of the first point. And then once that stream is kind of in place, I can start building the rest of it out. So we've got like a little bench trolley thing that we're going to put in here, so I'm just going to get some tape and mark out the space that's going to take up, and from there I'll cut the backboards and finally get that done. Not looking too bad, huh? Alright, moment of truth, I guess. So we should get lights on the charge controller before we connect the battery. Woof. Straight into it. Okay, well that's good. So I guess what it's going to do is just kind of figure out what the battery needs, the current state it's in. It will just take a little bit of time to kind of balance and find out how much juice it needs to give the battery. So while that does that, I'm gonna have some lunch, I think. Right, so it's about 45 minutes later and it's kind of settled. It's been on around about 350 watts for all that time. It kind of balanced itself, and yes, it's tracking really well. Now this is a 440 watt panel, and it stayed pretty consistent at 350. It's not the coolest of days, it's about 20 degrees, so it's not baking hot, but that's hot enough to, I think, drop a little bit of the performance on the panel. When you get those really bright winter days, that's when it's really gonna sink. So it's still a really good amount of power for 120 bucks, whatever it was. So in terms of where I got to with this, managed to get the pump wired in properly, but the extractor fan and the relay and all that stuff I can't do today, just because I've run out of M5 ring terminals. So I need to pick up some more of those in the week, and then I'll be able to finish all of this. It is ready to go. So I've got the kind of cabling as far as I could possibly get it. And then I realized that I never marked both of these. So I've got no idea which one's which down this end. So it'd be a bit trial and error, figure that out. But the reason I ran both was it just saves me having to do it down the line. So we've got a double gang switch, and we'll probably want to have like a main light probably in the middle of the room as well. So once we wire them both in, then we've got a switch ready to go. We can just have that main light. So yeah, we just need to get some kind of hook to run off that and sort the shower curtain out, and then that's done. So very, very close. So I'll switch off that breaker so we're not getting any solar power and isolate the battery. I just don't trust it at this point just yet to tick over while I'm not here. So with that, I think a great end to the month. Feeling really good about where it's going and the pace we've got on. We've got a load of time off in April, so we're going to try and tick off some really big ticket items. But yeah, it's great that the cabin's almost done and we can start on other things, which will be revealed next month. But I'll call it there, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.